Hey folks, I'm back to talk about another movie. Today we're gonna talk about The Matrix. Now I haven't really uploaded anything in a while because it's the start of a new semester and I'm quite busy going to interviews and such for clubs, and I also got some schoolwork to do. And there's really nothing to talk about in theaters. There was Captain Marvel, but that's pretty much it. There's nothing really special, I think, that I want to really talk about. I haven't watched a movie in theaters since Captain Marvel, but I'm really looking forward to Shazam. I'm gonna talk about that when the movie comes out. Anyways, I'm gonna talk about The Matrix and what I think about it, my thoughts on The Matrix. I'm gonna spoil, I guess, the first movie. I really don't remember a lot about the subsequent two movies because they're not as good as the first one. Looking back at it, because the last time I saw The Matrix was when I was about, I'd say about 13 to 14 years old, which is about 8 years ago, or 7 years ago. Nonetheless, this movie is really good. Coming back to it, it was released in 1999 by the Wachowski brothers. First off, the action is amazing. Oh my god, like the choreography, the angles at which the action is filmed on is much better than most of the action movies that we see today. Literally, I think it has one of the coolest kung fu sequences, hand-to-hand combat. Every fight scene that is in this movie is so memorable. The first chase scene, the very first scene where Trinity is being chased by the agents, the kung fu session, the fight in the bathrooms and the bathroom walls, great effects on every single one of those scenes. The rescue mission for Morpheus, which brought on the famous dodging bullets, that we call it the Matrix here. And then the finale at the subway station, where Neo is fighting Agent Smith. The chase scene right after that is also very riveting. I like the camera angles, the way it kind of, as Neo is running frantically up a flight of stairs, the camera shakes with him, and it gives a feeling of urgency that is not often shown in many of these chase sequences in other films. And I thought that was masterfully crafted. The final scene where Neo finally becomes the one, and he stops all those bullets. That scene's freaking awesome. I loved it. All right, time to talk about the story and how the story plays out in the movie. This movie is about 10 minutes long, 2 hours and 10 minutes long. It's pretty long. Not as long. It's pretty long. I thought that given what they had to convey, it was very hard to add that into 130 minutes, and I think they did an okay job. In the middle, there is a lot of exposition where Lawrence Fishburne just talks about the Matrix and what it is. And when I was a child, I really didn't appreciate these scenes because these were clearly exposition scenes, and they tried to make it somehow interesting. Other moments story-wise, I liked that the message is Neo, he doesn't believe fate, and he sticks to that. Because the Oracle tells him he isn't the one, but he believes he is the one. It gets really philosophical, and right now my head is kind of hurting, so I really don't want to think about it. But I thought that part of the movie was decently crafted. What I didn't like was that the arc that Trinity has. I think Trinity has a bigger role in the series as it goes on, and I thought there was going to be a revelation that she was going to be the one. And I think there's a scene where forgot the actor's name. What's his name? Keanu Reeves. He asks Trinity that, she told you you weren't the one. You weren't the one. I thought that was going to be the case, but the case was that she would fall in love with the one, and somehow her believing that saved Neo. It was cheesy, to say the least. Yeah, in terms of story, that's all I really have to say. Performances. Lawrence Fishburne is great. Carrie-Anne Moss, I believe her name is. I only saw her in this movie and in the Defenders. Was it Defenders or Jessica Jones TV series? I thought she was awesome because I gotta talk about this later, but I think she has become like the staple of what cyberpunk is these days, and what popular cyberpunk people like to draw and shit. Keanu Reeves. Now, if you kind of like just look at him at a surface level, as an actor, he does a lot of like this. I'm just gonna say everything in this one tone, but I'm the one. I can't do it. But the thing is, I think he has a level of charisma and an aura around him that allows him to be this force to be reckoned with. Like, he's cool. He sounds cool. He doesn't try to sound cool. But when he has his moments, when he has his emotional moments, he does bring in some of that emotion into his acting. I know, like, Keanu always acts in one way. I think he's kind of embraced that with the John Wick movies. It's quite lovable, and I thought it was a great cast overall. Talking more about the story, I thought Cypher's revenge could have been set up a little earlier, but I did see some hints here and there earlier on before we actually get the scene where he sits down with the agents. One thing I liked was that Cypher's reasoning for betraying them is totally reasonable, I think, as a human being. Like, normally when we have these backstabbing villains, we need to, in order for this to work out properly, there needs to be a good reason why that person would backstab the main protagonists. And for him, he has a clear philosophy that does not mesh well with the rest of the team. Everyone thinks that the real world is real, the Matrix is fake. And he believes that, well, I'm out of the Matrix, I'm supposed to be free, but I don't feel free. He has a philosophy that he clearly states. He says ignorance is bliss, and he talks about that while he's commenting on how the steak is not really real, but he still loves it anyway while he's eating the steak. I thought that was a very good setup, it was a very good way to handle such type of revenge. I just wish it would have been built up a little bit more earlier on. Maybe see his point of view scattered around throughout the movie, because I think that one phone call with Trinity when he kills these two guys, Switch and I forgot the other guy's name. Yeah, that's when he dumps all this exposition about his philosophy, and I thought it could have been dealt a little bit better. Other than that, special effects. Some hold up, some do not. I thought that the broken city of Earth, well, not broken Earth in the 23rd century, I believe, was beautiful. I thought the aesthetics were beautiful. The costumes were all beautiful. All super cyberpunk and super nerdy. Like, this movie is like the staple of, I think, what a lot of people enjoy about cyberpunk. Broodiness, leather, dystopia, grimy stuff that you generally see out of like future sci-fi movies. And I thought it was very well created. The aesthetic was super nice to see. Even now, like looking back at it, the movie's been 20 years since that movie came out, and it still looks awesome. Other than that, special effects, there are some that don't hold up. I thought the special effects that do hold up was the glass breaking, where the glass kind of bends before it breaks and shatters into a million pieces. That was awesome. That's still awesome looking at it now. When Neo jumps to the other building and he lands on the pavement, that's a little bit of wonky CGI. When Agent Smith explodes, that's a little bit of wonky CGI. But it was okay. I mean, it's 20 years ago. What do you really expect? So overall, I think The Matrix is actually a really good movie to rewatch, because if you're a similar age to me, you probably watched it, and when I was young, I was really bored by the middle sequences unless it was an action scene. But when it got to the end, I was really excited, and that's when I was like, I fucking love this movie, without really understanding any of the ideas behind it. And thinking back of it like now, this concept, I think The Matrix isn't completely original in its ideas, but still, it's really awesome how someone could have come up with these ideas and incorporated it into a movie, a story, and it's really quite interesting. And I think that Wachowski, there's a reason why The Matrix is such a legend in filmmaking and pop culture. And yeah, definitely, if you have the time, if you have some free time, it's on Netflix. Check it out, because you'll have a blast of a time. I really didn't expect to like it, but I actually quite enjoyed myself as I kind of looked into every scene for any of these small little details that you could have really missed when you were younger. And now with a much more matured eye, and looking at film, I thought it was awesome. It was a great experience, so I definitely recommend checking it out. So that's my thoughts on The Matrix. I guess I'll come back with another movie once I see one. I do want to talk about Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, because I have the second movie on, uploaded, but I really haven't talked about the first movie, which is kind of weird because it's kind of out of order, and I really don't like it myself. So thanks for listening or watching. Thanks.